Hey everybody, welcome to FoundFlix, and blessed be to the new founding fathers. That's right, the annual Purge is upon us once again, with the release of the latest entry in the series, the prequel, The First Purge, exploring how the infamous night came to be. But today we'll be focusing on the original trilogy, digging into the mythology of the universe and explaining everything you need to know about the films and the series story. Let's begin with a look at the annual event known as the Purge itself, the government-sanctioned night of lawlessness that forms the backbone of the series. The origin begins in 2014, in a dystopian alternate reality of our own, with America finding itself plagued by multiple wars and increasing social unrest amongst the population, leading to the largest economic crash in our country's history. On the brink of utter desolation, the people turned to a new organization with a new philosophy to hopefully correct the course of the country, voting in the new founding fathers of America, them taking the place of a president as the new leaders of the country. After a few years of planning, the NFFA create what they believe is the solution to the nation's problems, the Purge, where for one night a year for 12 hours, all crime, including stealing, arson, and murder, is legal, becoming passed into law as an amendment to the Constitution in 2018. During this time, no medical service, fire, or police are available. Essentially, anyone on the streets is on their own. There are a few stipulations, including higher than Class 4 weapons like explosives and bioweapons being prohibited, as well as politicians over level 10 being off limits or immune as well. Otherwise, go to town for 12 hours and kill or steal or do whatever you want with no consequences. Sounds pretty great, am I right? The ideology of the founding fathers behind the idea is for the Purge to act as a means of catharsis for the nation, getting all of their inner rage out in a sanctioned manner. There's strong religious undertones to their beliefs, and to them at their core, all humans are poisoned by sin, and allowing the citizens to act out their sins works as an act of cleansing their souls of the hatred they say we all keep inside. The Purge does work as they hoped, reducing crime levels to 1% and giving the nation a thriving economy once more. Of course, the reality is the NFFA has a much more disturbing and sinister intention with the Purge, using it as a cover-up to execute the lower class and poor to leave more in the wake for the rich like themselves, in a form of population control. Since the only way to ensure one's survival is to be wealthy, this presents a not exactly subtle refracting of America's struggles in reality, and the growing division between the haves and the have-nots. Because the poor people are like, hey, this Purge thing sucks, I'm getting shot at and stuff, while the wealthy hide in their well-secured homes, comfortable that what's happening outside is for the nation's own good. This brings us to the events of the first film, which transpires on the night of the 5th annual Purge in 2022. We follow the well-off Sandin family, and Father James even has the Purge to owe for his success, selling premium security systems to everyone else in the neighborhood, seen passing through to a gated, tight-knit community. To James, there is no possibility of danger from the Purge, especially with one of his own security systems installed at his house. But he learns that no one is safe this night, no matter what their social status is. Honestly, it's his stupid kid Charlie's fault, who, even though he's been through this disturbing tradition before, is clearly still upset by the entire concept. And after the commencement occurs and James puts the house into lockdown, Charlie spots a bloodied homeless man outside being hunted, and the kid foolishly decides to grant him sanctuary, opening the security system and letting him inside, thinking he's doing the right thing, which I guess makes sense from a moral standpoint, but practically is completely idiotic and endangering the whole family, as it's not long after that a group of purgers, a bunch of young, well-educated people called freaks, show up at their house, demanding they return the man to them, as he is meant to be purged. If they don't, they will tear down the barricades and kill James and his family. I'd say freaks is definitely appropriate for this lot, with their slicked-haired blonde leader coming across more like a snooty rich kid than a real villain. And meanwhile, girls in his squad are frolicking around and playing on some swings. Yeah, they're a bunch of freaks for sure. They don't come across as especially intelligent either, because the first thing they do after asking for the man is to shut off the power to the house. Yes, you must bring us the man. Now let's make it practically impossible to find him by making the house pitch black. So naturally the family stumbles around the house in the dark for a while, and after they capture him, in the moment James changes his mind, unable to sacrifice the man for himself, deciding to fight back against the freaks instead. After reinforcements arrive, the freaks bust their way inside and take over the house, hunting the family. James is able to stand his ground and take out several of the group before their blonde leader gets the jump on him, mortally stabbing him with a knife. Buck gets quickly dispatched by Zoe, but it's too late for James, who bleeds out from his wound. Surprisingly, their neighbors arrive and save the day, taking out the entire gang, but reveal that they were merely in the way of their own targets to be cleansed. The family. Apparently they resent them for flaunting the money by a new house addition they earned from all the security systems the neighborhood bought from James. And after seeing their systems were down, decided to take them out to release their hatred towards them. No, good neighbors. As they're about to be purged by the neighbors, the stranger shows up getting a handle on things, and when presented with the option, Mary decides to let the others live, even though she isn't actually supposed to. You're supposed to purge everybody, and forces everyone to awkwardly wait out the rest of the purge. After the air horn sirens blare, everyone leaves, including the stranger. The family stepping outside, at least still alive, as we overhear news broadcasts declaring this the most participated in purge yet. It was thanks to Charlie's compassion towards the stranger that they survived, but again, if he hadn't let him in the house in the first place, the situation would have been entirely avoided, and most likely his father would still be alive. So compassion is not without consequences when it comes to his foolish yet still, I guess, moral decision. Perhaps the most disappointing aspect of the first film is how self-contained it is, only hinting at but never showing us the full scope of the mayhem happening outside. Fortunately, the Purge Anarchy takes this into account, widening the perspective from one household to a group of people stuck outside during the night of the purge. Set 1 year after the first movie in 2023, and already the unrest from those opposed to the purge has gotten to the level of an organized movement, led by the revolutionary Carmelo, who this year has big plans to take action to stop the purge, due to it targeting lower income citizens. One perspective that shows this is the waitress single mom Ava, who along with daughter Callie and her ailing dad Papa Rico are struggling every day financially to survive. And seeing an opportunity to provide for the family, Papa Rico gives himself up to be sold to a group of wealthy purgers for the substantial sum of $100,000, leaving the money behind for his daughter and granddaughter. The gist is, the wealthy throw a purge party, and they want someone they can murder, but want to also be able to do it in the comfort and security of their homes. So they pay good money for people like Papa Rico, who find themselves with limited options to make real money in this twisted society. There's also Sergeant Leo, played by Frank Grillo, and it's thanks to his performance the movie works as well as it does. Leo is using the purge to tend to his own revenge. A year ago, his son was killed by a drunk driver, and tonight intends to hunt him down as vengeance for what he took from him. And he's definitely prepared, looking like someone I would not want to meet in a dark alley. Oh, he's got more guns. That's good. Even though he appears cold and distant, Leo shows he has some compassion when out later in the streets, he gets wrapped up with Ava. Hoping for a quiet and peaceful evening, Eva and Callie are disrupted when a group of heavily armed uniformed men randomly arrive at the building. While they don't understand why this is happening, the team are a part of the NFFA's plans involving taking out low-income population, and Eva's building has been targeted to be cleansed. There are multiple teams like this, all using high-tech semis, equipped with traffic cameras and maps to show them where the NFFA wants them to clean house. This group's leader is the sadistic Big Daddy, who uses a minigun in the back of the truck to mow down the masses. Eva and Callie are rounded up for his own personal purge, and thanks to an assist from Leo, are able to escape their fates. They join him along with a bickering couple who have been dealing with another group of organized purgers, led by a man wearing a white mask with God written on it. But they aren't interested in killing them as it initially appears, seen rounding up someone else and tossing them alive in the truck. They instead have financial gain in mind, and are collecting people to sell to the wealthy. This eventually happens to our group, finding themselves put up for auction to be hunted. After defending themselves and taking out several of the rich douches, hordes of them are brought in to stop them. But they are saved when Carmelo's group arrives, him making his feelings about the purge crystal clear.
And motherfuck the purge!
And his militia has more than enough firepower to take out the threat. And guess who's amongst Carmelo's troops? The bloodied stranger, who has a name now, Dante. And it makes sense he would be trying to stop the purge, especially after his experience the previous year. After escaping, Leo is still hell-bent on exacting his revenge on his son's killer. Even though Callie and Eva try to appeal to the compassion he obviously has, he decides to follow through anyway, breaking into the man's house, dragging him out of bed and confronting him for what he did, but does not kill the man, showing his time with Callie and Ava has indeed taught him some compassion, and understanding that killing him won't bring his son back. He still looks morose stepping outside, and Big Daddy has tracked him down seeking revenge of his own for killing his men. As he's about to kill Leo, he's stopped by a bullet in the head from his son's killer. Yep, how about that for a twist? He's the one that winds up saving Leo's life, as Ava arrives, along with more troops on the other side, leading to a tense standoff. But it's cut short when the horns sound, indicating the end of the purge. Phew, that's some good timing. Leo is taken to the hospital to tend to his bullet wound and survives, continuing on as a central character in the next film. Purge Election Year finds the growing unrest over the Purge and the NFFA's true intentions reaching a boiling point as the nation grows increasingly divided. The third entry also is the only one to actually show us the NFFA in action, revealing its leader Caleb Warrens, unsurprisingly some old white business dude in a suit. This time the group taking on a much more hands-on role in the plot. On the verge of the upcoming election, they have their own patsy that follows their ideals that would keep the Purge tradition alive. But a new wildcard Senator Charlie Roan has been gaining traction in the polls, and she intends to stop the Purge completely. She has personal reasons for this, as her entire family was killed during an earlier Purge 17 years ago, and believes the soul of the country to be at stake because of this tradition of senseless violence and murder. Seeing her as a potential political threat, the NFFA puts a plan in action to have her assassinated. First, changing the rules of the Purge to allow Class 10 politicians to be involved, making their murder nice and legal, as well as hiring a team of neo-Nazi mercenaries led by a man Danzinger to hunt them. But they're gonna have their work cut out for them, as Roan's new head of security is our boy Leo, and we already know he's very capable of keeping people safe in tough circumstances. He insists they take Roan to a safe house, but she refuses, wanting to stay in her own home for the Purge, worried that it would jeopardize the public's opinion of her. So Leo does his best to make her house safe, setting up guards and snipers everywhere. But thanks to a betrayal from his team, Danzinger and the mercenaries are able to breach the house. Leo was smart enough to have a backup plan, installing a hidden door in the floor to allow them to escape, and leaving behind a bomb that goes off once they've reached safety. But trapped in the streets during the Purge, it's not long until they run into trouble, coming across a group pretending to be dead. They fight back but are tased by Uncle Sam, and Lady Liberty has more Purgers surround them. This happens to be taking place right down the street from another man, Joe's store, his friend Marcos witnessing things through binoculars. The two decide to step up and take action to save Roan and Leo, of course recognizing the importance of keeping the senator alive for their own good. Soon after, another group of young female Purgers arrive at the store. They're literally only here because earlier Joe stopped one of the girls from stealing a candy bar, and considering she mentions having taken care of her parents, will certainly murder them as well. Fortunately, Lainey, who has a shady criminal past, is out patrolling the streets acting as a mobile ambulance service during the Purge, and after a call from her buddy Joe, lends a hand by plowing down some of the girls, and blasting the rest away with a shotgun, amongst the pile of bodies, declaring that her old alter ego, the Pequeña Muerta, is back.
Pequeña Muerte is back, bitches.
Which is way funnier than I think was intended. She takes them to an underground base for a group of anti-Purge supporters, who are led by Dante. Quite a step up from the last movie. They have their own plans in motion for the evening to make a big impact, knowing the church where the current minister is having his Purge mass, intending to assassinate him. But Roan disagrees with this vehemently, and doesn't want her potential presidency founded on blood. With Danzinger's group quickly approaching, Leo and Roan try to get to safety, but she still winds up captured by the mercenaries after their vehicle is wrecked. She's taken to the church to be purged as part of their mass, giving the honor to the leader of the NFFA. This sequence really shows us the religious kind of perspective they have about the Purge, feeling similar to Catholicism, but pretty much just replacing the word God with the word purge instead. As Caleb is just about to slice her throat, Marcos brains him with a perfect shot, and Leo along with Dante's troops assault the room, creating absolute chaos as the Purgers run for their lives, and Roan is set free. Dante gets a hold of the minister, but rather than killing him, decides to let him live as Roan wanted, though Leo gets in a nice kick right in the family jewels.
Good night, blue cheese.
What the heck kind of saying is that? They have one last obstacle to tend with as Danzinger's team arrives, and poor Dante is killed in the squabble. But at least he did have a hand in changing the course of the country, as Leo personally deals with Danzinger, putting an end to their path of destruction. And all of this protecting Roan was worth it, as we jump ahead 2 months later at the polls, where she easily gets enough votes and is elected the new president. Of course, her first order of business is to end the Purge once and for all, though it sounds like there is some discontent from those who supported the Purge, hearing about NFFA supporters protesting with criminal activity like looting and attacking police officers. So perhaps the Purge isn't completely done after all, and now the Purge supporters are in the minority, flipping the tables from how it's been up to this point. And they could cause enough of a problem to force Roan to reinstate the Purge in some form, but for now at least she has saved the nation's soul, as she intended, and gotten retribution for the deaths of her family caused by the Purge. I do like how conclusive Election Year is, making the first 3 entries feel like a complete trilogy, with each broadening the scope of how the world is as years of the Purge change it fundamentally. Since the Purge is over at the end of election year, that's why the new movie The First Purge is a prequel, showing us the very first year of the Purge, and potentially providing us with more concrete events of how the Purge came to be, and even then was forced into success by the NFFA. But for that, we will need another video. So make sure to check back soon for my ending explain on the First Purge and how it connects to the original trilogy. Which of the Purge movies is your favorite? What kind of crimes would you get into on Purge night? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Thanks for watching FoundFlix. See you next time.